Well, hello and welcome, or welcome back to That Girl's Quilting Threads and Things. My name's Diana. Today's video, I'm going to start a new playlist called Kitchen Projects. And what better way to start that playlist with a very simple kitchen project? We're going to make a small and a large table trivet. So join me at the sewing station and let's get this project started. So for this series, I'm using these fabrics that you see in front here. I'm doing these kitchen quilted projects as a special request from my daughter-in-law. She just wanted a nice long trivet or a nice long table runner that she could use to put hot dishes on when she's having a meal with her family. So I didn't find something that was really super long, but I thought I would kind of modify her request just a little bit. Hopefully she will like it. So what you'll need for your projects are some coordinating fabrics, or you can go scrappy and you can use some of your orphan quilt blocks to help you along the way. I ordered a half a yard from each one of these, and this lovely gem I found in a thrift shop, and there was about 2.5, 3 yards here, and it matches all of the other fabrics. So yay for wonderful finds. So let's go ahead and get started with what we need for our trivets. The most important part of your trivets is going to be what you use to make your quilt sandwich with, right? So remember, these are going to have hot plates, hot pans placed on them. So whatever fabric you use, you need to test it and make sure that it will pass the heat test. Also, you want to make sure that you have enough protection that that the heat doesn't travel through. So part of that comes in using this type of batting. It's called Insulbright. The beauty of the Insulbright, and I think there's other products out there that are similar, is that with this metallic center, it's got a metallic layer inside of it. And what it does is it takes the heat, it absorbs it, and it prevents it from traveling through to the other side to protect our hands and the tables and countertops that we place hot stuff on. So that's one layer of what you would want to have for your batting. Now the other part is you can either double up on your Insulbright, or you can use 100% cotton batting. That is also going to help, it's going to be able to handle the heat that you're going to place on your trivets. It's going to be able to absorb that heat and handle it. And then with that added layer of Insulbright, it's going to make sure that whatever surface you place your trivet on with that hot pan or that hot bowl, that's going to be protected. You can also use these in pot holders, use this Insulbright in pot holders as well, so it will protect your hands. But the key here is to use a layer of Insulbright and or 2 layers of 100% cotton. I've seen people do cotton straight away with no Insulbright in it, but I like the idea that the Insulbright has an added layer of protection in it. Okay, so for our trivets, we're going to make 2 trivets. So I need 2 layers of 100% cotton, and those layers need to be 8.5 inches, and the large trivets will end up about 11 by 16. All right, so you'll need to cut your batting out for those sizes. So here I have two layers of Insulbright and 2 pieces of 100% cotton batting. I'm putting the cotton batting on the top, and then this is where the trivet top will sit. So I'll do that, just sandwich it nicely together, and you can set those off to the side. So next you'll need your bottom layer of your small trivet. So again, that's 8.5 by 8.5. All right, and you can place that right side down. Now the fun thing about this is a great opportunity for you to use up and maybe put your orphan blocks to use. So if you have orphan blocks, these will make fun gifts that you can share with friends and family. but you'll want your top part to be the same size as your bottom part. So everything basically is going to be 8.5 inches square. Choose your favorite star block, choose your favorite friendship block, and make it 8.5 inches square. 8.5 inches square, and then your 2 layers of batting. All right, just place the batting directly on top of the bottom half. So my 100% cotton batting is on top, the Insel Bright is on the bottom. I'm going to place that quilt block right on top, just like that. And now we have a little mini sandwich. This is going to be basically the same process for the large trivet. So let me go ahead and set up the other trivet. All right, so we have our trivet right side down for the bottom part, our Insel Bright, and our cotton layer, and our top layer for our trivet. Now I'm going to pin this in place just to keep it straight, because I will do a little bit of quilting to adhere the layers together. So I'm using a Microtech sharp needle because I'm going through the Insel Bright, which has a little bit of metallic on it, and I'm going through 2 layers of batting. So I want to make sure that I use a nice sharp needle to make sure it goes through nice and smoothly through this. So then you'll put your quilt sandwiches together. Now I have one of my trivets already sandwiched, so I'll show you real quick. So this here is the large trivet, so it's roughly 11 by 16. All right, and I'm going to treat this the same way. I actually put some pins in this one here just to make sure that I don't get any puckers while I'm doing my quilting. And for these projects, I'm just going to quilt in the ditch along the seam lines, right? So that way I'm not taking away from the beauty of the fabric that it already has. So, and I am using, for my color, I'm using the same color in the top and in the bobbin thread. I'm using a very light colored teal. Once you get to that point there, choose how you want to do your quilting motif. So again, I'm doing mine with a simple stitch in the ditch. So when I cut out all of my different pieces of fabric, I had a bunch of scraps left over, and because I only have a limited amount of those beautiful fabrics that I showed you earlier, I am doing a pieced binding for my trivet projects. And I think it's just fun. I think it'll turn out just fine. So once you have your quilt sandwiches put together, go ahead and quilt your projects and get them prepared for binding. I'll see you back here in a stitch or two. So I've got all of my pieces quilted here. I just simply, again, just did a quick stitch in the ditch. Then after you've quilted your piece, then you're going to want to square it up. So as you can see, this one here looks a little wonky because of during the quilting process, right, my fabric tended to shift. I should have put more pins in. But nonetheless, it's still working. And so I'm going to go ahead and square it up. So I happen to have an 8.5 inch square already, but you don't have to have that. Remember, these are going to be 8.5 inches, and you just want to make sure that you have a nice square, even all the way around. And what I want to do here is I'm looking for landmarks that are going to help make sure I'm not cutting it at an angle that's going to make this look like it's not even all the way around. You want a nice even frame, unless you're going wonky, and there's nothing wrong with going wonky. So since I know that from the measurements of this, I'm going to just make sure that I have a nice line here, and I'm going to use my 1 3/4 inch metric line. All right, so I'm just lining up my 1 3/4 inch metric, making sure that it is straight around on this seam between my center focus area and my border. And it looks like I can cut a little bit off, so I'm just going to lean into it and cut it. And I'm just going to do the same thing. I'm going to use my 1 3/4 as my metric line, make sure everything lines up, and then I'm going to cut it. So you can see that my fabric pretty much lines up, but the batting is sticking out. So, okay, again, 1 3/4, and one more side. Now that this is squared up, right, and it's going to make a nice little trivet, the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and put binding around the edge. So I have a piece binding here. I think I showed this a little bit earlier. And I just took and used some of the scrap ends from the strips that I had cut, because I really want to save all of the fabric as much as possible so I can make some more projects for my daughter-in-law's kitchen. Now, you can bind with your favorite method. You can do double layered binding, single layered binding. So I'm going to take all of these and I'm going to apply my binding to them, and then we'll come back. So I will see you in a stitch or two. Well, I finally put the binding around all of the pieces. I kind of like the piece binding, but I don't know how frequently I'm going to do it. I just played around with it to see how it might look and feel. I think it works okay for this. It's the extra large one, and it's 11 by 16. And then here's the other trivet. And then we have our two trivets that are 8.5 square. And again, just light quilting on the back side. And I used the same pieced binding. I had just enough. So that's it for today's project. I hope that this was helpful. You got something out of it. Please feel free to add a comment, share, like. Again, I want to thank you very much for taking the time to watch today's video. And until that next journey, may all of your quilting projects be joyful, one stitch at a time.